Welcome to this talk in which I will present the work of my colleagues and myself about password manager use. Now, when we join a university or any other institution, we need a lot of accounts to get our work done. And some of these are internal, like the university account to access email, VPN, and so on. And some will be external, like collaboration services or paper submission sites. Usually, users receive little support in managing all these accounts. But what would it look like if a university actually would offer a password manager to all its employees to securely generate and store these passwords? And this is exactly the situation we found ourselves in as George Washington University considers purchasing such an institution-wide license for all its members. And we wanted to investigate what the impact of such an deployment would be. Specifically, we formulated 4 research questions for this. Firstly, how aware are members of educational institutions of password managers and the different types of password managers that exist? Then, how do the current password handling strategies of the members of these educational institutions look like, and what is the role of password managers currently in these? Then thirdly, what are the strategies specifically for the university account passwords? This is very interesting in this case because the university account password would be, in the deployment case, promoted to be the vault password of the password manager. That is, the university account password would protect all the passwords in the password manager vault. And last but not least, we wanted to investigate the reasons for use and non-use of password managers in this setting. Now, due to time constraints, I can only go into the results of 3 of these research questions, but you, of course, can find all the details in the paper. Now, to answer our research questions, we conducted the first large-scale quantitative measurement study in an institutional setting. We invited 2,000 members of the university to fill out a questionnaire by sending invites to a mailing list. And the sample of 2,000 members was selected by the university survey office to be evenly balanced on demographic lines and institutional roles. 277 of these participants returned and provided valid data sets. Now, for the design of our study, we based this on previous qualitative work by Pierman and colleagues who did 30 interviews about password manager use and habits. They included a definition about password managers that we also adopted for our questionnaires, where they introduced 3 types of password managers. That is, browser built-in password managers, those in Firefox or Chrome, for example, those that are built into the operating system, like Apple's Keychain, and dedicated third-party applications. And we also used the themes they uncovered in their inductive coding to design the questions in our questionnaire. Now, the questionnaire itself was implemented in Qualtrics, and it, of course, started with an informed consent, and we asked for the role of the participant at the university. We then asked questions about the participants' general password management strategies and their related behaviors, such as how they synchronize passwords across devices, for example. This also included questions regarding the 3 password manager types, but it's important to note that at this point, the participants had not seen these introductory texts yet. Next, we asked about the university account password and the strategies used to create specifically these passwords. And only then the participants saw the introductory text explaining the 3 password manager types. And this was followed by some more questions, and we only included this here to be able to compare the responses before the introduction to after the introduction to measure the awareness of the different password manager types. We then asked the password manager users among our participants about their reasons for use and their most as well as their least liked features about password managers. And the participants that did not use a password manager, we asked about their reasons for non-use. And then last but not least, in the last step, we had the web skill scale and the SA6 scale, as well as demographics questions, and participants could opt into a raffle for one of several $10 gift cards. All right, so what did we find? Regarding the participants' awareness of password managers, we found that most of the participants already knew about password managers, with only 9% hearing about password managers in our study for the first time. With 28%, the most prevalent medium by which participants had heard about password managers was word of mouth, so from other people. In a regression analysis, we looked at the factors that might affect participants' awareness, and we found that increased web skill also increased the odds of being aware 1.9 times by each 1 point increase on the scale. And with 79%, also the majority of participants were aware of the 3 different types of password managers. That is, they answered consistently between before and after the introductory text. So in summary, most participants actually were aware of password managers, and participants most frequently learned about password managers by word of mouth. And web skill seems to indicate a higher awareness. All right, so how did the strategies for the university accounts look like? First, regarding the security, we found that 83% of our participants believed that the university account password was at least as secure as passwords for other accounts they had. The most common reason for choosing the university account password was memorability. And with 29%, the most frequent strategy to choose this password was actually reuse. Now, 29% is actually lower than the overall reuse rate we found among our sample, but it's still unfortunate for passwords that would serve as potential vault passwords. So in summary, the majority of the participants rated their university account password at least as secure as those of other accounts, and most commonly, passwords were chosen for their memorability, and the most frequent strategy was reuse. All right, so last but not least, I want to present some results regarding the reasons for use and non-use in the educational setting. In a logistic regression, we found that overall ease of use played the biggest role. When participants agreed that password managers are easy to use, the odds of them using one increased by 14.53 times. And less pronounced, but still significant, was transparency. When participants agreed that they understood how password managers work, the odds of them using one increased by 3.15 times. We also asked the 212 password manager users among our 277 participants that what their most liked and least liked features are, and these results basically mirror the regression results. The list of most liked features is exclusively filled with ease of use features. And on the other hand, security concerns lead the list of least liked features. Now, due to the consideration of the university to purchase this institution-wide license, we also asked participants how likely they would be to adopt a password manager if it was actually offered by the institution. And our results show that the majority, even among the participants that currently did not use a password manager, would use one if it was offered by the institution. So, in summary, overall, ease of use plays a very important role in adoption of password managers, as ease of use features such as autofill are liked the most by password manager users. And even non-password manager users would adopt one if it was offered by the institution. Now, as I already said, this talk does not contain all the things that are in the paper, so I would like to encourage everyone to have a look at it or just talk to me or my colleagues on Slack or in the breaks. And to conclude this talk, I quickly want to introduce the recommendations for institutions and developers that we could derive from our results. For institutions, the most important message is probably that if the decision is made to deploy a password manager, it is likely to find wide adoption. And harnessing word of mouth, for example, through campaigns involving security advocates, can be a good way to promote these campaigns and foster trust in the password manager if the security decisions of the institution are already trusted by its members. And also institutions should make sure that the chosen password manager works for the own websites of the institution. As we have seen, autofill is the most liked feature, and so this should be ensured to work. And for developers, the most important message is that the features should be easily accessible. That means, in particular, autofill by providing a browser extension, for example, and also password generation can be promoted if the UI is directly available. And that's it for the talk. Thank you for your time. I'd be happy to take your questions.